Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Hope so you all are fine. So today we are going to discuss about the osmotic adjustment in the plants. If we are going to discuss about osmotic adjustment, we all know that there are different types of the plants and how these plants are basically living in the different environment. There is not only the plant who are living in the land, but there are also plants who are living in the water as well as in the sea water, as well as in the desert. So beta, there are three types which you have to keep in your mind is the hydrophyte, halophyte and the xerophyte. The hydrophyte are those plants who used to live in the fresh water. Now the question is that beta, how they are able to adjust their osmotic level, how they are able to remove the excessive amount of the water to live a normal life. So for that, what kind of the adjustment the halophyte or the hydrophyte used to do, we are going to discuss in this session. Basically, beta hydrophytes are those plants which live in the complete or the partially submerged in the fresh water. Such water do not face the problem of the water shortage because they are living in the fresh water, so that's why they do not require any kind of the water problem. These are the hydrophytes. The hydrophytes, as I told you before, beta, they are those plants which used to live in the water. They might be completely submerged in the water or might they are partially submerged in the water. They do not face any deficiency of the water because they are living inside the water. Then what is the problem they are going to face? The problem which they are going to face that how they are going to remove the excessive water from their body. So how they are going to remove that? Basically, their structure used to help them to remove the excessive amount of the water. So how they are going to use that, beta? They have the broad leaf structure. You can see that they have the broad leaf structure. So they can, as well as the number of the stomata are very much on the surface of the leaf. On the surface of the leaf, normally we have discussed that the stomata are present on the bottom surface, lower epidermis of the leaf. But in the case of the hydrophytes, the number of the stomata, the maximum number of the stomata are present on the surface of the leaf. As well as beta, one more thing which I want to discuss with you is that their leaves are quite broad and their leaves also have the maximum number of the stomata, so they can easily adjust that to, by the help of the transpiration, they can easily adjust to remove the excessive amount of the water which is not required by the plant. You can see that beta, water lily is the best example. They have the broad leaf and the number of the stomata are more on the surface, on the upper epidermis of the leaf. These are some common example of the hydrophytes. So you can see that beta, these are some hydrophytes. You can see that their leaf is quite broad. So that's why they have more number of the stomata on the upper surface of the leaf and they can easily leave the water out from their body. Okay, the next one which we are going to discuss is the xerophyte. Xerophyte are those plants which used to survive in the desert. Now, you know that in the desert there is a deficiency of the water. Then how they used to fulfill the amount of the water? Basically, beta, they have some special kind of a strategy so that they are able to survive in the desert. What are these strategies basically? Basically, beta, they are quite waxy. They are quite waxy and they have the cuticle. So, their surface is covered with a strong layer that is known as a cuticle. Have you ever seen the aloe vera? That is the best example of the desert plant. They have the leaves in the form of the spikes, as well as their roots are very deep so that they can absorb the maximum water. Moreover, beta, their leaves do not contain the maximum number of the stomata. Their leaves have very less number of the stomata, so that can transpiration, by the help of the transpiration, less water is going to remove out. Similarly, moreover that they have, as I told you before, that they have the waxy layer so that the transpiration do not occur. They try to pause the transpiration maximum, they try to kiss the transpiration so that they can retain the maximum water there. There are some desert plants who have special cell who have the special parenchyma cell in the root and the shoot of the desert plant. This led to absorb the maximum water in it, due to which their roots and their stem used to become juicy. Have you ever seen the cactus? If you're going to split the cactus into two parts, you will see that there is a very juicy, its stem is quite juicy. Similarly, beta, if you have ever seen the aloe vera, then the aloe vera have the gel. What basically this is, they have this some special kind, you can say the special type of the parenchyma cells that is known as a succulent organ, which is actually helping them to store the maximum amount of the water so that they can retain the water. These are the example of the desert plant. Now the most important is the halophytes. Now what basically the halophytes are? Halophytes are those plants which used to live in the seawater. And you know it very well, the seawater is having higher concentration of the salt than the hypertonic solution. Now how these plants are able to survive in the sea? They have also some very special technique that they are able to survive under the seawater. Let's see some examples of the beta. Basically, sea plants are those plants which are completely submerged in the seawater. And you know it very well, the seawater concentration, salt concentration is very high. So how they are able to survive in the water? Basically, these plants have some special technique. These plants used to keep the high level of the salt inside the body, so that they used to keep the concentration of the salt inside the body more as compared to the seawater. So that's why the more they are able to retain the water inside the body. Let's see these some examples, common example. Now we are going to study that how these plants are able to adjust. We know that the sea plants are those plants which used to completely submerge in the water, as I told you before, and the water have the high concentration of the salt. So how these are able to survive inside the water? Basically what is happening that the plant cell having the vacuole used to take in the salt by the help of the active transport, and do not let the salt to get out of the plant cell. This will help to keep the high concentration of the salt inside the vacuole. When there will be the high concentration of the salt inside the vacuole, the seawater will start moving inside the plant cell, because we know the law of the osmosis, osmotic adjustment. We know the law of the osmosis. What is that? Okay, the water used to move from the higher concentration of the solute towards the lower concentration of the solute. The water used to move from the higher concentration towards the lower concentration. It means that the water used to move from the lower solute concentration towards the higher solute concentration. So that's why beta the vacuole is maintaining the higher solute concentration, so that what will happen, it will help so the water to adjust themselves into the vacuole. It will help the water to adjust themselves into the plant. When the vacuole with the help of the implant cell, the vacuole with the help of the active transport led to take the salt particles, led to take the salt from outer side from the seawater to inner side, and used to retain the salt inside the vacuole. So here what happens beta, the concentration in the plant cells increases, the salt concentration in the plant cells increases as compared to the seawater. Now what will happen, we know it very well, according to the law of the osmosis, the water move from the lower solute concentration towards the higher solute concentration. So here is the higher solute concentration and here is the lower solute concentration. So water will move inside the plant, and this is the way the plant used to take the water and use it for its survival. The vacuole, by the help of the active transport, is taking the salt inside, as well as it is not letting the plant semi-permeable membrane is not letting the salt to get out of the plant. So these two major strategies are played by the halophytes to keep the water inside the body and to maintain its level, and they are able to survive in the seawater. In fact, we can see from the text that it is written there when the salt enters in the cell, plant carries out active transport to move and hold the large amount of the salt in the vacuole. Salts are not allowed to move out through the semi-permeable membrane of the vacuole. So the sap of the vacuole remains even more hypertonic than the seawater. In this way, water does not move out of the cell, and many seagrasses included in this group of the plant. Hope so you get that, and if anything is not clear you can ask me, and I think so that you have enjoyed this lecture. Okay, jazakallah khair, and learn this topic by your heart.